I get a lot of questions asked about what I do. I have a relatively unique job being in the fresh chicken business. There's a lot of misconceptions, and the numbers in the ag business are outstanding. We talk in hundreds of millions and billions of pounds. So I did a speech maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and we've got some new members, and a couple people asked me. So I'm back again to present on the chicken business. So Don, I'll let Don be my clicker.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So we'll go over a couple of things. Who I sell. A lot of people say, well, where does your chicken go? Some general information. Who is Mountaire Farms? Mountaire Farms is the company I work for. An overview and the top 4 myths. And if we could get to those, that'd be the best part. And maybe we'll talk about corn, soybean, and exports if we've got time at the end. Go ahead, Don. So Mountaire Farms is selling to all of these guys. So you don't know who we are. We're a privately held company, and we don't market like Tyson. You see Purdue trucks or Tyson trucks, and they have a substantial amount of marketing behind their name brand. We sell to a lot of guys that turn it into something else that you eat every day and you don't know. We have all the PF Chang's in the country. This company is Payway and PF Chang's. They have 2. That's about 400,000 pounds a week of just breast meat. We sell 360,000 pounds to Panda. That's weekly. I know a few of the big ones. Buffalo Wild Wings is 15 semis a week. So it's 15 semis worth of chicken, just one item, just chicken wings. So that's 600,000 pounds weekly. So we talk about these huge numbers. ConAgra owns Marie Callender's. They own Healthy Choice. They own a bunch of those names. So we sell it to those guys, and they turn it into that. So that's a few of the people I sell. Boar's Head is another big one. Go ahead. So we do a few different labels. We call it a blue label. It's more of our economy line. And then we have a black label that you'll see in a minute that's of our higher end. So most of those accounts are buying 1 or 2 of our lines of product. Go ahead. This is our black label, which is our super clean, super trimmed up meat. It's chef ready. There's nothing you have to do. No fat, no kill, no anything out of that bird. Go ahead. We have a third line that we sell into the Asian markets. Every city has a Chinese restaurant. I mean, some of them have multiple ones. And so we sell, this is called Bo San, which in Mandarin means precious mountain. So we have asked our customers to help us label it, so we didn't take an American something and turn it into Chinese. They actually helped us create this. Bo San is our precious mountain line. So a few general facts before we get started. We are the largest in the United States when we produce chicken. Brazil is coming in second. The industry is a major user of corn. We talk about how much we feed to cattle. I don't think people realize how much goes into the chicken business. Just remember to cook your chicken to 165 degrees. That's, if you don't remember anything else, just cook it. How do you want your steak? Medium. How do you want your chicken? Cooked. You just want it cooked. After cooking, refrigerate uneaten within 2 hours. Just so a couple of little, just quick housekeeping tips there. And as we talk about broilers in this conversation, a broiler is just a chicken raised for meat. We're not in the table egg business. Mountaire's not in the turkey business. We're not in the table egg business. We're in the broiler meat business. So if you look at the totem pole last year of who's producing the most pounds, Mountaire is coming in at number 7. We have 3 expansions between now and 2019 that will add about 30% more to us. We're actually building a brand new facility. So Mountaire is producing 43 million pounds a week. Tyson produces 176 million pounds a week. So these are weekly numbers of pounds ready to cook, just raw pounds. We've got 3 facilities. We have one in Lumber Bridge, North Carolina, right next to Pinehurst, Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's the largest in the country. We have 2 in Delaware. They're about 20 minutes apart. These 2, one goes into retail. So what you'd find at your local grocer, it's a smaller bird. Millsboro is another big bird. It's the 2nd largest plant in the country. So just to give you a couple of quick random numbers, We do run a lighter, this is smaller live weight. We run 2 live weights, 4.5 pounds and a 670 live weight. 1.8 million birds going through there a week. Millsburg's a little heavier, 8.5 pounds, almost 2 million birds per week. And then Lumberbridge is the biggest in the country with 2.6 million birds a week. So when you look at the poultry business, most people don't realize how many millions, and we're number 7. Remember, we're the 7th largest, and we're killing almost 6.5 million chickens every week. So the quote on there is, every day we have a saying, it's we sell it, smell it, or freeze it. It's going every day. Those birds are in the field. They are coming to the plant. They will be sold today or tomorrow, every day. So as the industry, the average live weight is about 6.5 pounds. Once you take all of its parts off, livers, gizzards, hearts, feathers, you're coming up with, what is this, 93 million pounds a week. Those are weekly numbers. So it's major. I mean, it's a substantial amount of product. Anybody know this one? Anybody?
56.
I got to guess a 56. Wow. Ding, ding, ding. 56, you're correct. So there's another little useless tidbit of knowledge. 56 pounds. Yeah, he cheated. He's Googled it. So Mountaire it is a big place. We just a couple of just random numbers. The train cars, we do rail in a lot of corn from the Midwest. We're trucking some also, but we're lucky to have a rail spur on site. We save a lot of money by railing it in, and we're using 450,000 bushels of corn weekly at, as the mayor says, 56 pounds a piece. It's a substantial amount of business. We're in the grain business. Even though you're in the chicken business, you're definitely in the grain business. Truckload of chicken. Takes us 9 minutes to get a semi full of chicken. That's how fast we're running. Just breast meat, 40 minutes. Every 40 minutes, we're selling a truckload of breast meat. Our export guys, we sell about 85 countries, and it takes 52 minutes. So chicken wings. We had chicken wings today and chicken tenders for lunch. Those were provided by Mountaire Farms. Those were out of the Lumberbridge, North Carolina plant, the wings and the tenders today. And so if you look at that, there's about 10 count wings to an order when you go out to a restaurant. So we're getting, 103,000 10 count wing orders a day. So that's how we're able to provide Buffalo Wild Wings 600,000 pounds a week. That's how much volume's coming out. So the birthplace of the chicken business is right down the road from our Delaware office. Miss Steele created the chicken business back in the 20s. So before that, it was really a problem to ship long distance due to the refrigeration. Everybody had backyard birds, and it started with 500 birds in 23, and by the 30s, it really turned into a commercialized business. But before then, there was not a chicken industry. We have fixed plants. How do you get more? How do you get more through it? You raise the weights every year. So you can see since 1980, we've been adding a little bit bigger birds and a little bit bigger birds throughout all these years. That we are putting more pounds through these fixed cost facilities every year, year over year. And this is just another one talking about the billions of pounds annually that have risen since 1980. You're going to eat about, I think this year's about 87 pounds of chicken. You can see if the yellow line, chicken is the only one that's increased. Beef has stayed flat, pork is flat, and you're going to eat more turkey tomorrow or Thursday than you do any other time. But on average, you don't eat a lot of turkey. Turkey is only 16, 18 pounds a year. Beef is in the 50s and chicken is in the 80s. Go back to 1972. Look how big a piece of the pie this was. Beef was 85 pounds a year. Now it's into the 50s since the 70s. Substantial difference in your diet from red meat in the 70s versus a lot more chicken today. So gave you a bigger picture. Now this will talk more about just our some about our state and a little bit about the local community. The two key takeaways on this one are family farms are in 63 counties that grow and sell broilers. So every county basically is in the chicken business. And 5 of the top 10 from that list I showed you earlier of the poultry companies are growing here. And then, as you know, the closest one here is Shelbyville, right around the corner. Average size farm going around in Lincoln County is 148 acres. And I really thought this was unique. So if you know any young people that can get into the farming and agriculture, average age of principal farm owners is 56 now. So Lincoln County is no different than any other county in the country when it comes to the age of our farmers are going older, not younger. Any idea how many chickens are just in Lincoln County every week? Good guess last time.
I have no idea.
Anybody want to take a guess?
100,000.
Go ahead. 1.2 million chickens a week are in our county. So even though that Tyson is not producing here per se with a plant, there's a lot of assets tied up in Lincoln County just for the chicken business. Anybody want to take a guess? Okay, the answer is the chicken because I'm not in the egg business. It's always chicken. If we were in the egg business, I may change my mind, but it's definitely chicken. That's no doubt about it. You can ask our owner. We're in the chicken business. Of course, it came first. Males and females. Obviously, the one on the right is the male. If you've never looked at the difference in the chicken's heads, there you go, males and females. So in our hatcheries is how we start our business. We are fully integrated. That means there are eggs coming off our farms that go to our hatchery to turn into baby chicks that go to the broiler farms. From the farms, they come to our plant. So we own the bird completely through the system. So we do put them in setters. A setter is very unique. Mama hen would sit on an egg and move it around. Well, our setters move every 30 minutes. They move back and forth with different wind, warm air. So just like you would in nature, we do the same thing. And then the chickens will come out and they'll go into our into the broiler farms. Misconception: cages are not used in broiler production. So if you see a commercial that says we use cage-free chicken, of course you do. Everybody does. Eggs are different, but cage-free chicken, that's just the industry. I mentioned their weights have gone up. There are basically 3 categories in the United States. If you run a little bird, it's KFC. All that's, and what we have here typically is they're all a small piece of chicken, usually cut up into 8 pieces. Or if you go to Kroger or Walmart, you get the little deli wog, little rotisserie bird. Those come off these smaller birds. Middleweight birds, if you grow for that, like Shelbyville does, it's more of a tray pack. It's going in a tray and going to Gerald's or somebody like that. It's in a tray. And then Mountaire's mainly in the big bird category. As I said, you don't care that the Mexican restaurant bought a piece of meat this big or this big. It was cut up. Same thing with Chinese, all those other guys. Marie Callender's, Boar's Head. It didn't matter what size it is. That's just big meat. It turns into more of a commodity. There's the live weights again going up. We've continued to push live weights up. A few things that I get asked about are talk to me about free-range chickens. It is very much a niche. To be in the free-range business, you basically give them access to the outdoors. So if this was a chicken house and that was an open door that was fenced in, it's nice temperature in here, there's food in here, there's water in here, my friends are in here. I got the ability to go outside, probably not. Chickens will typically not go out there, but it's just a rule. You have to give them access to the outdoors. They can eat bugs and anything predators can get them. So mainly chickens stay in, but it is very small. Free range is not a big part of the industry. So the 4 myths. This is a good one here. We get asked about these 4 myths a lot. Hormones. Anybody believe there are hormones in chicken? What's one of the number one myths? Go ahead. There are none. That is the number one myth I think we get asked pretty regularly. So it's been illegal since '52. So there are no hormones in chicken. If you read a package and it says no hormones, it also has a star and it says because they're illegal. So it is, of course we say that. Go ahead. No hormones are added, no steroids, none added ever. If anybody ever has chicken questions, this is a great new website that the Chicken Council put together. It's called Chicken Check-In. You want to see anything about it, farm to table, what a grower does, any questions, Chicken Check-In is now a new marketing tool. All right? Number 2, are chickens genetically modified? No, we're not genetically modifying chickens. They are selective breeding. I mean, they've selectively been bred for more muscle, or stronger, more feed conversion. Obviously, you want fewer pounds to go through there. But we're not building them in test tubes. I've had that asked. So how do you make the chickens, like in the lab? Well, no, we're not. That's not us. So the biggest one this year, actually maybe this is 2 years going, is concerning antibiotics. At the time that we process chickens, there are no antibiotics in any chicken. It doesn't mean they didn't have them in some point in their life, but there are no antibiotics in chicken at all. There's a withdrawal period. So if they get the cough, you treat them 5 or 7 days, and they're done. So if you hear that in the news, which is a big story today, is a lot of people are saying no antibiotics ever. That means that they're not. If they get sick, they are treating them and then selling them in a conventional form. But all the rest of those birds are going in a marketed program that way. The mortality rate goes up because they're waiting and waiting and waiting, trying not to give them antibiotics, so a lot more will die in the field before they do something. So this is the number one. If you look at the myths, we get asked a lot about the other, but this is kind of a hot topic today. And I mentioned this earlier. We're not raising chickens in a cage. If you've ever seen a chicken house, you can, like those pictures, it is just a big 500-foot, 800-foot room with 25 to 35,000 chickens in each one of those houses. Water. I put this in because there's no water anywhere, and I think everybody is worried about, if you're in the cattle business, you're worried about your ponds. This is about how much water is used in the ag business. So it's beef, pork, chicken, eggs, and that's all the way from the beginning. That goes all the way through feeding the animals, washing plants, through chilling them, the whole process. So it's a substantial amount of water is used to get wholesome food to your plate.
Is this a day?
That is no, that's in there. That's like per animal. That's their lifespan. This one, the key point on this one is the Americans spend substantially less money than anybody in the world on disposable income on food. We're using about 10% of our disposable income on food. Get down to the worst guy. India, 51% of disposable income is used for food. So we do have some high cost in food, but relative to the world, 22% in Europe, 33% in Mexico. So not only is the USDA oversight produce the safest food in the world, we also use less disposable income than any other nation. If you're in the farming business, you may know this. Ag is the largest sector of the economy. Agriculture is a huge part of the U.S. economy. And before I got into the business, I had no idea how big the ag industry was, especially the chicken business. This is the grains and soybeans. We'll flip through a few of these just to show you. As a company, we're in multiple areas. We have a group looking at what's the rainfall in Brazil, because they're raising corn and soybeans too. I wish Divis was here. Brian could help you. He could probably give us some good stats on the grain business. But we're looking at multiple parts of the world from an input. Our largest cost is corn on the input side. So We look at what corn does. If you're selling corn or buying corn for cattle, you know that it's changed dramatically. We look at carryover stocks in the globe. How much corn will be left at the end of the year before next year's harvest? So we have a whole group that's helping us forecast pricing for next year. Hey, costs are up, prices better be up, or vice versa. There was so much corn a few years ago. This is very unique. We ran out of storage space. So we literally piled up corn, and we didn't lose a whole lot. We tarp it. So go through these few pictures. It's a tarp, major tarp. We piled all this corn up, put some these tubes to pull airflow, but that's how much corn was available, and at cheap prices a few years ago, that we just piled it up and used it out of there. Just some unique pictures. Yeah, 2014. 534,000 bushels piled up in a row because there wasn't enough storage space for it. And hey, save 200 grand doing it. Not a bad deal. We're looking at the corn, like I mentioned, just trying to figure out how our prices will rack up. Corn's going to be cheap next year. It'll help the chicken business on profits. Same thing, we do the same thing on soybean. We're looking at the carryover stocks. We're looking at the global numbers of how much, if there's more head of beef out there, the product goes that way. If ethanol goes up, more corn disappears. So there's lots of players pulling for the same input cost we do, input items. This shows you who's buying, who's got extra, and who's short. Can you see? China's a major player in what we do and who we have to look for, who we have to fight on the global arena. Ethanol. You know where all the ethanol plants are? Right in the heart of the country where the corn is. So until a few years ago, we were fighting the beef guys or the pork guys for corn. Well, we didn't see that. New players stepping in to also buy corn. Quick one more. So the stock exchange changes every second. The commodity market, beef, pork, chicken, seafood, changes once a day. And we get this sheet. Breast meat, tenders, wings. If you see, these past few weeks, there's a plus by all these wings. You may know why wings have gone up the last few weeks.
Holidays.
Football season. You're in the heart of football season. Wings will go up during football season. So breast meat will go down when you're cooking out a lot less. Wings will go up. So some more useless tips that are kind of neat because more people eat wings. It seems like that's the number one thing everybody eats on wings now. So you can see a few of these. 6% are eating a supper. I mean, that's really not a lunch item. Unique today. Buffalo Wild Wings, 10% of all wing orders. They're a major player now. They're going globally, and 1 billion servings of chicken wings a year. I think there's one more slide on this. This is kind of neat. 15% of the wings are sold at restaurants that are chicken places. KFC, you don't go there for wings. You don't go to churches or Zaxby's for wings. There are a lot of other places. Pizza places, but more of them are sold in Applebee's, TGI Fridays, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Then the last couple of stats. The major restaurants were 49% of all wings sold, and that moved up from 2014. So more wings are being sold. So I can't find a current one, but I'm sure this still applies. This is Super Bowl. On Super Bowl, 1.2 billion wings are eaten. So we're eating more wings on that day than any other day. So obviously there's not enough fresh chicken. People stockpile frozen wings December, January, just being prepared for how much business there is on Super Bowl. These are a little bit hard to see, but these are just some pictures of a processing plant. It is a substantial amount of labor. Our lumber bridge facility is 2,700 employees, so it's like managing a small town. It is measured as the largest employer for 3 counties. That's a 2-shift operation. 18% of the meat we grow or produce as a country is shipped overseas, mostly leg quarters. American eat white meat, tenders, breast, and wings, and the majority of the world eats leg quarters. Also a lot cheaper. It's $1.20 for some breast meat. It might be 40 cents for leg quarters per pound. So a substantial price difference also. Leg quarters, 51% of the meat we sell export is in the leg quarters. Mountaire, we sell 85 countries. So we go to quarterly meetings, and export gets up and does a speech. Most of us sales guys have to look up where these countries are when they finish. So he might give a great speech on Gabon, and we go, oh, that's great. And then we Google, where? I have no idea where Gabon is. So our export guys are traveling. We have 2 Americans that they're Russian. We have a few Chinese speaking. We have a few Spanish speaking. So our export department is very versed in multiple languages. So that kind of concludes it. And then there's about an 8-minute video I'll show you as we're done. But we are a major player in the industry, and as you can see, the chicken industry is probably much bigger than you would think. It is a major piece of the agriculture, and especially around here, 1.2 million chickens a week are grown in this county, and I think that was a lot higher than anybody's guesses. So I'll conclude with it's about an 8-minute video on Mountaire. So some of these numbers, it'll show you our feed mills, our hatcheries, the entire process, and what a few farmers are. That's the overview of our entire company. And then I'll take some questions. kind of to end up with Mountaire, we are privately held. I saw everybody trying to Google, like, what a great company. I wonder if I can buy stock. You can't. We are privately held, third generation, 102 years old this year. So we've got a good. You can turn a ship a lot faster when you don't have the corporate world of stockholders holding you. A couple of things on that video. We now use, from a sustainability standpoint, all of our packages are fully recyclable. Most people, really, basically the rest of the industry still uses a paraffin wax-based, oil-based product to coat their boxes. We've gone to a company that uses more of an animal fat, so it can be broken down. In 90 days, it disintegrates. Just, you can throw your food away just like these boxes, where most people have to segregate out their corrugated because it's wax-based. So that's a big deal from sustainability. Giving back to the communities, that's our largest thing. The container company, the box company, gives us all those boxes, and we get lots of employees, their families, their children, and they will pack those, the whole meal. Instead of turkeys, we give out whole fryer, whole big chickens, but it's the whole cranberries, the stuffing, everything. On the using all the parts, so we use blood meal, bone meal, feather meal, and fats. That is all dried and turned into other animal feeds, fertilizers, that kind of stuff. So there's nothing goes to waste in the chicken business. So that's kind of the everything there is to know. If you've got any questions, I'd be glad to help.
I noticed that the farming industry is actually struggling like many other industries, and that is the age of people investing in it is going up. Is there anything that your company is doing to kind of encourage a more proactive approach from younger generations?
So we do internships, not as much in the farming side, but from young people in the business as a whole, we do. We do lots of scholarships, we do lots of internships from that standpoint to get them educated in the ag world of the chicken business. But from a farming standpoint, I don't think we do. No. A lot of our farmers grow corn for us and have chicken houses for us. So they have, and a few of them are third generations also. They've grown chickens for us and have lots of other acreage, and so they sell us their corn off the same product. So it keeps that family, young generations also coming because they're using the farm for both grain and for poultry.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
We had some people who immigrated from Iraq to here, and the family actually grew up farming chickens in Iraq. Yeah, that actually happens in Iraq. And so I'm wondering, how do you go about, I guess, getting into business with your company if you want to house chickens and stuff like that?
So wherever a chicken plant's located, you can draw a circle about 90 miles from every plant is where all the birds come from. So that's why nobody grows around here from Mountaire, because our closest plant is in North Carolina. All of ours are about 70 miles from that plant. But Chevyville will have a list. They'll have people on a waiting list a lot of times to grow for them. And they'll go to their best growers and say, hey, you have 10 houses. Would you like to buy, put another one in? Or we've tapped out, and they'll go to that. So the grower division of each company, so we'll fall in a 90-mile circle. It's that, and that's both for cold and for heat. You don't want to transport those birds all that far. Yep. And
There's a lot of these new, I call them farm to doorstep companies like Blue Apron. That all the ingredients come in the box, ready to go. Are y'all tapping into that market? Because there's a lot of city kids.
Absolutely. We have done that personally with a couple of different companies and tried them out. Some of our sales guys met with two of the big guys in New York, and it is very difficult because it's relatively still a small market. We're trying to get 12,000 pounds for a drop. Our whole truck is 40,000. So their orders are so inconsistent that it is very difficult. So we're selling it to a distributor and a lot of those places are buying it from our middleman. So this guy will bring in 40,000 pounds of chicken, and Fresh Realm or all these Blue Aprons or what these guys will just buy 1,000 pounds off it. So a lot of our meat, actually on one of the websites, it has us, our bags, our brand. So if you were to go on there and order, it will tell you about us and our chicken. So we are doing some of that.
You know, you mentioned the smaller birds go to fast food, the bigger birds go elsewhere. Which one is most profitable between, I guess, between having that
The
feeding longer and
The big bird industry has been more profitable year over year for years and years. Yep. There are more companies getting into big bird than there are small bird. There are not many plants that are converting back to a smaller bird.
is that a part of the reason why that average size is going up and up and up? Because more
That's right.
people are getting
That's
into
right. If you're getting into it today, we'll have a new plant open in May of 2018, and that will be a big bird plant. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Two questions. I noticed in the personal protection equipment that there were, why hard hat?
Because a 9-pound chicken falling from 30
They're
feet,
overhead.
they are.
Okay.
It is so those chickens are on shackles,
Okay.
and at some areas they are overhead.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And then I noticed one of it was a hollow chicken.
Oh,
How many companies, are you one of the few that does it? How many distributors do the hollow?
so our Millsboro and Selbyville plants were able to pull out all the pork byproduct basically, and we have someone that blesses those chickens. So the halal market is mainly in the Northeast, but there are pockets of halal business all over. Big ones in Miami or Detroit or Philadelphia. So I'd say a pretty small percentage of our meat goes to that, but it is certified. It is blessed. It's no pork anywhere. North Carolina, we cannot do it because Smithfield, the largest pork plant in the nation, is there, and there's a lot more pork byproduct in feed. So it's difficult for anybody in North Carolina to do it. Anybody else?
Good job.
Oh, yeah.